If there is ever a time when watches and the world at large come closest, it's with the Olympics. The best athletes on the planet time to a fraction of a second to see who's got what it takes to go for gold. For once, the rings I'm obsessed with don't need the help of a doctor. Let's see who the most successful Olympians in the world are using to keep track of time. Since the Olympics first began in ancient Greece from the 8th century BC, people have pitted themselves against each other in a series of increasingly bizarre trials to see whose parents lived most vicariously through them. The Olympics, in the very early days, used to be held in the nude, and it was the starting lineup of the swimmers on their marks that inspired the Olympic logo. And it's in swimming we'll find some of the most successful Olympians of all time. Slipping through the water like a greased eel for an Olympic career spanning 12 years is Michael Phelps, the most successful Olympian of all time, and by many, many lengths. With 23 gold medals to his name, Phelps outstrips the next most successful Olympian, Larissa Latynina, by a frankly ridiculous 14 gold medals. You would anticipate that such a successful sportsperson would have the absolute pick of the litter when it comes to timepieces, but that just doesn't seem to be the case. He's supported by Whoop, the screenless health monitoring device, on one wrist, and on the other he's rocking an Omega Planet Ocean. He's recently been seen wearing a solid gold Omega, which seems appropriate, but of course he's also been wearing the special edition Michael Phelps Planet Ocean he created with Omega 2, which is limited to 280 pieces and worth around $9,000. Why Omega? Well, Omega's been the official timing partner of the Olympics since 1932. It wasn't the first. Longines provided the timing gear for the first ever International Olympics, held in 1896. Tag Heuer, then called Heuer, provided stopwatches in 1920, 1924 and 1928, and Japanese watchmaker Seiko specifically for the Tokyo Olympics in 1964, and for some reason also in Barcelona in 1992. Since Omega's got the timekeeping gig until at least 2032, we're going to see a lot of Omega. Not for 100-meter sprint sensation and world record holder Usain Bolt, however. Part man, part jetpack, Bolt slapped the watching world about the face with a 9.69 second 100 meters, which he then bettered with a 9.58, the biggest improvement since Omega moved to electronic timing equipment in 1948, introducing the Magic Eye photo finisher camera, which allowed judges to see exactly who finished first to the millimeter. This, dear listener, is known as foreshadowing. Bolt didn't fancy settling for Omega, however, getting multiple limited edition watches created for him by Hublot, including the gold and sapphire Big Bang Unico Bolt Sapphire, a unique piece that sold at a charity auction for $150,000. What's perhaps most surprising is that, unlike fellow countryman and Olympic gold medalist Johan Blake, a deal was never done with Richard Mille. Blake received multiple special editions, including the $600,000 RM5901 Johan Blake, following the appearance of a prototype on his wrist as he competed in the London 2012 Games, the first time a watch was worn during an event itself. That prototype was also sold at a charity auction, and has since reappeared with an asking price of $2.6 million. Blake is not the only Richard Mille wearing Olympic athlete to take to the stage with his watch on, with fencist Miles Chamley-Watson swashbuckling his way to bronze in the men's foil team, wearing the brand new and very bright yellow RM6501 in quartz TPT, worth $380,000. A limited edition of 120 pieces, it was a welcome reminder for friend and onlooker Lewis Hamilton, who'll be joining him in RM ownership when he swaps his race suit for red at the Ferrari F1 team next year. For 5 times Olympic gold winning swimmer Ryan Murphy, however, it's back to Omega, flashing a rare Seamaster in rose gold, titanium and tantalum at his wedding in September in 2023. It's a subtle watch, mostly in matte grey titanium, including the dial, with really just a hint of rose gold in the bezel, crowns and bracelet links, with the flash of blue-purple tantalum, one of the most difficult materials to work with, appearing between those links. As a limited edition of 2,500 pieces at an asking price of almost $18,000, which is significantly more expensive than the standard steel and gold Seamaster, it's no surprise there's still plenty left available. There's even a little plaque on the side that lets you know just how lucky you and the 2,499 other people really are. Our next multi-gold medalist, swimmer Emma McKeon, has managed to amass 6 Olympic gold medals, including one in 2024 for the women's 4x100 meter freestyle relay, plus a rather nice 38mm Omega Seamaster Aquaterra as well, in steel with a blue dial, worth about $8,000. The only picture I can see her with it on, however, is a paid partnership post with Omega, thanking Omega for supporting her, so I won't put her down for an AMW Patreon membership just yet. You might be surprised to hear what discipline 8-time Olympic gold medalist Isabel Worth has amassed her treasure in. But I'll tell you one thing, I bet the horse wishes it had chosen a different career path as a Prittstick. This is the sport of dressage, a propaganda piece from the equine ministry of silly walks that has majestic stallions trotting about like a dog with shoes on. Nevertheless, you've got to be a classy kind of gal to get into dressage, and so could it be any surprise that the watch she wears during training is a $10,000 Rolex Datejust in steel and gold. It's the quintessential old money watch, and I bet it's got a bracelet baggier than a well-worn saddle. Apologies for the brief hiatus away from the Olympic-sized swimming pool. We're returning to our regular programming now to catch up with Caleb Dressel, who's just added 2 more gold medals to his collection, for a grand total of 9. Dressel is exactly what you get when you ask AI to draw how Americans think Americans look, so pixel perfect it's like he's only just been taken out of the wrapper. It seems Omega has perfectly captured that feeling by pairing him with the equally plastic Moonswatch, although I hope for his sake that he's a little more durable. Our next athlete is matching Dressel with 9 golds, but with the spare change in silver and bronze, she pips him to the history books. It's Katie Ledecky, the most decorated American woman in Olympic history. Having just taken a 4th consecutive gold in the same event, the first woman to do so, she's also eyeing up the 9 gold medals worn by Larissa Latinina in the 50s and 60s in the hope to become the most successful female Olympic athlete in history. She's got so much gold she doesn't need any more jewellery apparently, foregoing a watch entirely. She's right there, Omega. Get her before Rolex does. But it wouldn't be an Olympic spectacle without the raw sass-powered antics of Simone Biles, the pint-sized performer who's amassed 7 gold medals in just 2 Olympic Games, after sensibly backing down from Tokyo 2020 with a case of the twisties. I get dizzy after sitting on the toilet too long, so fair enough. She's already the most successful American woman in gymnastics, and despite losing out on gold on the beam and the floor in 2024, seems to be putting in no less effort when it comes to her insane difficulty level. With 5 difficult skills named after her, awarded for being the first person to complete them during international competition, she's definitely earned the pleasure of wearing a nice watch. However, she seems to have left that to her American football-playing husband, Jonathan Owens, seen enjoying a similar classic steel and gold Rolex Datejust as Isabel Worth. But in 2024, all eyes have been on the spectacular finale to the men's 100 meter sprint, as Kishane Thompson was given the slip by Omega wearing Noah Lyles, who snuck in at the last possible moment to snatch a victory that measured to the hundredths, identically to Thompson's 9.79. It was Omega's photo finish camera that brought answers after a tense wait for the result, with Lyles pipping it by just 0.005 of a second. He then gave his $17,000 Speedmaster Dark Side of the Moon Apollo 8 edition, worn during the gold medal winning run, an extra beating as he did his best impression of the Marquis de Lafayette on the winner's bell. And remember, if you once had a dream to become an Olympic athlete and you think you've still got it in you, just remember how much you struggle putting your socks on in the morning. See you next time.